Welcome with us in search of the lost truth of humans, a story made up of humans who walk the earth to discover the secret of life. Spiritual is materialistic, we recall the essence of the human being, in contact with the supernatural, watching beyond.
Calibrating is the key to understanding what kind of result we want to obtain from our actions. One action is not always the same as another, or rather, what we need to know is that every action we take, every energy expense in different time has a different result to obtain energy, since the energy imprinted in time makes the difference, especially if we are carrying out actions with a high level of risk. It is very important to understand its use. Choose what result you want to obtain, and by the moment in which you want this result to happen, accomplish the action. Our brain orients itself on the basis of the objective, outlines the details for the operation. Calibrating means making a meticulous decision in choosing the energy expenditure, in the vote, in the action. Heavily or lightly in its imprint of energy, when calibrating, what matters is the time, always related to the energy gel. It favors humans' choice in establishing whether a result should assume more relevance or not, immediately or over time. Two types of choice, affirmative, negative, are the extreme of choices available, from where all the other choices derives. An attainable talent if not perceived correctly in time. Actions taken at a very late time to ensure that the energies lead downwards. Thoughts, decision with little energy, full of negativity, and actions taken in advance or at the perfect moment, even better if perfect, more precisely, a moment before the peak of energy for the upwards. It is the last decision of all decisions. It is the decision, a decision that is marked in a time lapse where all the others were wrong to strike, to take a decision, the peak where luck culminated, where the priority thoughts of some subjects stood out. An imprinting of energy given at the time anticipated instead of at the peak will give us a rise, a temporary victory, but not to reach the crest, the maximum peak, our target, and therefore it will be wasted energy. This operation can be useful as a false expectation, a feeling of temporary victory, to entice all to participate in our operation. A new attempt will be necessary if we are to reach the crest. Reaching the crest in the case of a highly complex operation is almost a must, if profitable results are to be achieved. It is therefore the density of the energy present in the atmosphere and that intuition that makes us understand when an action should be taken or not, knowing how to stall, master the time omnisciently. When you feel that the energy level reaches its peak, in the same way as when it's running out, you have to take the decision to strike. It is good to know before you give the vote, before carrying out the actions, what luck is at stake, what we are risking. Our life likewise unfolds in this way. For those who know the key to the mastery of calibrating the fateful moment or not, actions have their weight tied to the timing and energy of the thoughts that move. An action moves energy. It is that last choice that decides fate, that cent that makes up the million numbers, which is no longer worth a cent, but the whole lies in particular situations, and it is in this situation of perfect calibration that our penny investment worth a million or more. To lower the mystery of this key in the manipulation of energy, time and everything that concerns it, clearly a greater investment would be more influential, in the right amount to obtain desired result. A mathematical calculation that in matter it can be applied, but also in everyday life, if well studied. Time. Calibrating the time in order to our will. Where does the difference lies? On the positive choice, you will always be on the crest of the wave. It is a choice that brings you lasting advantages, as this condition of high lasts a certain period, but with a certainty that the investment will have a return. We can realize that when this choice reaches the peak of own highness, again, you have to choose again for positivity or negativity. This is due to the fact that in order not to go down from that crest, that peak, we must continue to vote, to pay with our energy, not extra energy, but the same amount of energy used in the previous operations is sufficient. In the same case, contrary to the downside, after the peak of the quota has occurred, we express our will, desire, action. Behind this lies the secret of programming a timeline. On the basis of this calibration factor, organize your own time program. Here it is that a choice tending towards the bottom will lead us to the bottom. This is how a failure is programmed. This because by choosing that delayed time interval, one is in principle little energy to attribute to the choice, therefore little decision-making power. A full decision full of negativity. For full decision we mean intrinsic of emotions that orient ourselves to strike for the negative instead of the positive. This is valid also if you're carrying out an action in behalf of someone else. If you're voting for the downwards, it doesn't matter if it doesn't involve you directly, it will still affect you in the downwards, because you're responsible. All that evil, or simply a repercussion, will come back somehow. Another operation that we carry out in this case to modify and affect the tempo, therefore modifying the curve of the action, is the back tempo followed by a certain calibration which corresponds to the positive or negative. Pointing at a tempo that normally goes fluid, we can decide whether if that tempo must change or not, all thanks to our calibrature, our energy imprinted at the right time to a purpose. Strengthened by this key, we can ensure a correct application of our life choices in relation to how luck moves. The votes we give become very important. It doesn't matter if they are hundreds or larger numbers. It doesn't matter the quantity, but it's the thought and the time. A penny in a million numbers that makes the difference to reach that goal.